Hi guys, Jim here again with yet another Sudoku video, and today we'll be tackling a sandwich Sudoku from the collection from the Cracking the Cryptic team. Quick word on them first, as ever. Cracking the Cryptic, couple of puzzle solving experts who have their own YouTube channel and have been uploading daily solves of really interesting puzzles for years now. Definitely go check them out if you're even vaguely interested in this sort of content, which again I hope you are because you are here and I'd like you to stick around. Then not only do they put up videos of themselves solving puzzles, they've also put up for sale these hand curated collections of various Sudoku variants, which are really interesting, really fun to play. Definitely the best collection of Sudoku puzzles I've ever seen. They start really tough though, so just be minded if you've not solved many of these, maybe these could be a bit challenging. They do start hard, they get very, very hard, but they are all handcrafted and logically, they're supposed to be solved by human beings, and they've also got a series of handwritten hints to help you along the way for the trickier ones. Well, for all of them, frankly. But yeah, so definitely check them out, and if you like the puzzles, go and buy them on your phone because they're great value. Right, now, sandwich Sudoku. So what on earth do I mean by sandwich Sudoku? Well, if we jump into puzzle number 8, which is next up in the list for me, it's my first 2-star difficulty for sandwich, I think. Maybe not. So, in addition to the usual rules of Sudoku, whereby we have all digits 1 through 9 must go in each of the rows, columns, and these 9x9 boxes. We also have these additional clues given to us around the grid. What do these mean? Well, we know that in each row and column we will definitely have a 1 and a 9, because you have to have all of them. And in this case, what these clues tell you is the sum of the digits between the 1 and the 9. So if you think of the 1 and the 9 as the bread for your sandwich, the sandwich filling is the digits in between, and they sum up to whatever the clue is outside. So this is telling me that between the digits 1 and 9, they sum to 29. So if you added up all the digits in between, solve to 29. And that's it. And now I get to play this puzzle, so let's get going. And also, what I should note, the software here is really handy. So if you click on the clue itself, it gives you the options of the digits that you can use to sum them up. And in fact, you can sort of click on them to grey them out, which really helps you kind of when you're disambiguating stuff at the end. So the first thing really to do with a sandwich Sudoku is look for really big clues or really small clues. So 0 clue is great because it means the 1 and the 9 are next to each other. Now that's not that much help yet, but that's worth bearing in mind. But 35 is enormous. So 35, if you think of the digits 1 through 9, if you add them all up, they come up to 45, right? It's really interesting. Not interesting, but it's a really important fact in killer Sudoku. So if you've ever solved a killer Sudoku, you will absolutely know for sure that the digits 1 through 9 add up to 45. Well, in this case, if we take out the digits 1 and 9, because those are the sandwich bread, the remaining digits therefore must sum up to 35, because 1 and 9 add up to 10, and 45 minus 10 is 35. So what this is telling us is the digits between 1 and 9 add up to 35. That is, in fact, all the digits 2 through 8. And so these two cells, I know, are a 1 and a 9. And I can clear out this clue. And also what I like to do is, if I... excuse me for just 1 second. Sorry about that. Back again. Right, anyway, so if I've ruled out 1 and 9 from cells, I also like to block them out with a cross, because actually the first half of this puzzle is really finding where your 1s and 9s are. So if you know you can't put 1 and 9 in a cell, definitely worth graying it out. And because I've used the 1 and the 9 in this column, I can cross those out like that. Now, we know for this clue, okay, so this 2, because it can only be done with a single digit 2, there will be a 1, 2, 9 triple in that order, or in 1, 2, 9, or 9, 2, 1, one of those. So what I know is this isn't a 1 or a 9, because it would need to be a 2, and next to it would need to be a 1 or a 9 outside the grid. So in fact, this is a 2, and this is a 1 or a 9 as well. Now, I don't know the order of the 1 and the 9 just yet, but that's fine. And that means I've used this 2, so I can go into the clue, tick it off, and that means I don't need to I know which clues I've already used later on. And yeah, and grade these out and cross these off because the 1 and 9 in the row are already done. Now 24. So what you often find this, you kind of chain together your 1s and 9s. So this 1 and 9 here is the start of a sandwich. Now 24 can be made from either 4 cells or 5 cells. So the sandwich either goes 1, 2, 3, 4 with a bit of bread there, or it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a bit of bread there. So one of these two cells is a 1 and a 9. I know that for sure. And I know that none of the rest of the cells in this column can be a 1 and a 9. So I can cross those off. So this is definitely a 1 or a 9 in some order. If it's this one, then obviously it's a 9 and a 1. If it's this one, it still could be either of them. So I'm just going to leave that at that for now. But that's really useful to kind of rule out all of these cells. Okay, now what you do, or what I do, is I look for at least one given 1 and 9 in the grid. You'll always get given at least one of 1 or 9. Otherwise, there's no way to disambiguate at the end whether it's 1s and 9s or 9s and 1s. Now, in this case, let's look at the row first. So the row clue is a 6. 6 can either be a 6 by itself or a 2 and a 4. I know that that isn't a 1 and 9. And neither is the one next to it already. Now, in theory, that could be, and that could be the 6. But that it can't be a 2 and a 4 if it extends that way, because that would have to be a 9, and we've already used 1 and 9 in this column. So that can't be a 1 and 9, it's too far away. Similarly, that can't be a 1 and 9, it's too far away. Because then you'd have to use 3 digits to make 6, and that doesn't work. But I don't know which side it is. It could be a right-handed sandwich or a left-handed sandwich. So for the time being, I'll leave it. Similarly, we can do a very similar thing with the 7 logic, right? So it's either a 7 or a 2, 5, or 3, 4. Either way, it's a 1 cell or a 2 cell sandwich. So this or this could be the sandwich. This or this could be the sandwich. So unfortunately, I don't know which way around it is, but I can cross that off because this one is too far. Now that's interesting, right? So now I'm done with the kind of the obvious stuff. So now I need to start using my actual brain, which I don't think I signed up for that, but whatever. Okay. Well, I'm not quite done, am I? Here's some more obvious, right? So 24 again. I think this is the same. Yeah, it's 24 again, right? So it's either a 5 or a 4 cell. That is clearly not a 1 and a 9, and that is clearly not a 1 and a 9. In fact, that one is clearly not a 1 and a 9 because the minimum you need for this sandwich is 4 cells. Then either of these are possible, and then this one cannot be a 1 and a 9 because it'd be too far from this cell, and you'd need to use 7 cells to make your sandwich. Okay, now what else can we do? Well, this is interesting. So this row is a 0 clue, which means the 1 and the 9 are next to each other. So that cannot be a 1 or a 9 because that would have to be, and I've already ruled that one out. Okie dokie, so do we have anything else? So again, we're looking for big clues. So 29 is a big clue. All right, so we've got 5 cells or 6 cells. So there's a minimum of 5 or 6. Now what that tells me, if I started the sandwich as far right as possible, then this would be the minimum sandwich you could make. And if I started the sandwich as far left as possible, this would be the minimum sandwich you could make. Now any cells that are shared by those two minimum sandwiches, which happen to be these 3, I know for a fact cannot be 1s and 9s. Because if this was, so I'll ask it the other way, could you make this a 1 and a 9, 1 or a 9? Well, no, because obviously you can't extend it to the left because you haven't got enough dead digits, and you can't extend it to the right because you've only got 4 cells available to you, and you need at least 5. So that is not. That one could be because you could extend it to the left. So I don't know which of these 2 cells is a 1 and a 9, but I know one of them is. And similarly, I don't know which of these 3 is a 1 and a 9, but I know one of them is. So none of these are. That gives us a 9. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. That gives me a 9 in one of these 2 cells. Now that's interesting because either this, therefore, is the 9-1 combo, or this is with the 0 clue. So neither of these 2 cells can be your bread. 1 and a 9. You end up saying 1 and 9, 1 and 9, 1 and 9 all over the place in these videos. It kind of gets on my nerves. Okay. Can we do better? We can, yeah, we can do a bit better here, can't we? Because this 4 can only be a 4. You could, in theory, use a 1 and a 3 to make 4 from 2 cells, but because you can't use a 1 because you've already used it in the bread, the only option is a 4. Now, what that means is I've got this 9, 4, 1 in that order. So could this cell be one of the breads? Could this be a 1 or a 9? No, it can't, because it would need that one to be its partner. Similarly, with that one, it would need that one to be its partner, and these have already been ruled out. This is why you go around ruling these cells out. So I know for a fact neither of those two is a 1 or a 9. And now, powerfully, in this column, I know that we still need to put, well, you need 2 of 1s and 9s, right, in your option, in sandwich Sudoku. So one of them is here, but one of them must be here, which tells me in this column, this sandwich extends upwards. So I know now that these are not the 1s and 9s. In fact, yes, so if I now look at this column, where can my triple 9, 1, 4 go? It has to go here. So this is definitely a 4, and this is a 1 and a 9, and this is a 1 and a 9, like that, in some order. And now I know the order because there's already a 1 in that box. That is a 9, that is a 1. This means this 0 clue is now resolved as well, so that's a 1. I can cross those cells out. I can grey out my clues that I've used, including my 4 and my 0, and we are finally making a bit of progress. This must be a 9, because if I look in this box, it's the only one available to me. So that is a 9. Now this 14 needs at least 2 cells, so I know that directly next to it, 2 cells either way cannot be the bread, which unfortunately doesn't rule this one out, so that could work. This obviously could extend this way. That said, no, yeah, it could. I could use all 4 cells and that one there, so that's not very helpful. Although that does resolve this as the 1, 9 in that order, which is always good. So now I know that there's a 9 in one of those 2 cells. There's a 1 there, which means there is a 9 in one of these 2 cells. So anytime you expose a new 1 or a 9, you should have a look at the cells around it. So this 9 clue means that at least 2 cells either side of the 1, I cannot have a 9, because I need at least 2 cells to fill my sandwich. So that could still work that way. And then these 2 could still be 9s that way. So I don't know which way round these are, but I know that it's going to be some order like that. Now in this box, I know that the 1s are limited to these 2 cells. And what does that tell me? Well, actually, could this be a 1? Yes. I'm trying to think, because you can't have a 1 and a 9 here. No, actually, I don't think this can be a 1, because if this is the 1, no, this can't be a 1, right? Because if this was the 1, then where does the 9 go in this box? Well, it would either have to go here or here. And if it was here, well, that would break this clue, because that would make a 0 between these 2. And if it was here, that would break this clue, because then I'd only have 1 cell to make it add up to 29. And it's quite difficult to make 29 from 1 cell if you're only allowed to use the digits 2 to 8. So that isn't the 1. So in fact, that is the 1. Oh, that was nice. That was actually nice logic. And then, by the same logic about this 29, that can't be the 9. So that is the 9 in the box. So I can rule that one out from being a 9. So that's nice. I think, therefore... Yes, I think therefore I am. I think therefore this must be a 6-cell 1, 9 sandwich, which means the 9 goes there, and I know which of these it is. So I can actually clear that clue, because if I think about... so now I'm missing well, I'm not missing anything, but if I think about what, so these cells add up to 29, therefore these cells add up to 39, and as I mentioned already, all of these cells will add up to 45 because they are the digits 1 through 9. So if this is 39, this must be a 6, which is great. That can't be a 1 or a 9. This 1, 9 now is resolved, so that is a 6 to complete my sandwich, so that 6 can go away. Right, the 1, 9 down here has resolved this box, so this, oh no, I already knew this extended upwards, didn't I? Apologies. There's a 1 in one of these two cells. That's nice, isn't it? Yeah, so this sandwich now extends upwards, and it can be 2 cells, unfortunately. So I don't know if that's there or there, but there is a 1 here with my 8 sandwich. That does mean that I can clear these 2 cells now, and this sandwich must extend downwards, and it could be either of those. So unfortunately, I can't get much more there. Well, I can actually, because there's a 9 there. So where does the 9 go in this box? It must go here. That gives me this 9 over here, which is a 4-cell sandwich, therefore down there. Cross that one out. I can cross these 2 out. Okay, I need a 1 now in this row. I can't put it in that box, so there's 1 in one of those 2 cells, and I can cross this off. And now what have I got going on? Right, so I've got a 6 cell here, so that can't be a 1 or a 9 because it would be next to a 9. I still need a 1 and a 9 in this column, don't I? So, and I think, so I would need one of these 2 and this one, because I need at least 2 cells, don't I, to make my sandwich. So yeah, so this is definitely a 1. Okay, good. Very good. So that means this is the 1 in the box. That gives me my final 1 over here. That therefore can't be a 9 because that would be a 24 cell. So that is the 9. And then finally in this box here, that is the 9. And that is all my 1s and 9s done. And what I can now do, because I don't care about these crosses anymore, I can just click on the dustbin and get rid of them all. Okay, good. Excellent. That's a lot of progress. Right, now we need to start using these clues in earnest. Okay, so that's an 8 to complete my 8 sandwich there, so that's useful. This is a 3 cell, which there's loads of options for 13 from 3 cells, so I don't know yet any more about that. These cells add up to 11. Unfortunately, it could be, and it can't be 7, 4, so these are a 3, 8 pair. I know they add up to 11 because I looked at, so my sandwich plus the 1 and the 9 add up to 34. So what am I missing? It must be 11 to make my 45. So that is a 3, 8. So it can't be a 9, 2, can't be a 6, 5, and it can't be a 4, 7. So 3, 8 is the only other way to make 11. So actually I know this clue is now giving me no more useful information because I know the rest of this column. In fact, I might as well just drop it in. What am I missing from this column? 2, 4, 5, 7. And that can't be a 4 for what it's worth. Okay, right, now we are getting somewhere. This is 7. 2 ways to make 7, aren't there? Yes, I can't rule them out just yet. This is a 6 because there's only a 1 cell gap between these 2. 2 cells here making 9. There's a few ways to do that, unfortunately. 2 ways to make 17. 2 cells to make 17, though. That is a 7 and an 8. And I can cross that off. That's useful. Okay. This 24 cage is leaving 11 here. Literally the same logic, right? So I need another 11. And again, I can't use a 4 or a 6 because they're in the box in the column. So that must be 3 and 8. And then in here, I'm again missing 2, 4, 5, and 7. That's kind of eerie, actually. And I can cross that off like that. So that's useful. What about this? This is 3 cells, and I've got... I think there's 2 ways of doing this. Yeah. So it's either a 2, 7 or a 4, 5. There's a 4 in the column. How lovely. So that actually resolves that quite nicely. That might be why that 4 was given in the first place. So what did I say? That was a 2 and a 7. Tremendous. 4 cells to make 14. This is 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I said, this could be a 2, 3, 4, 5. And it turned out that it was. And again, 14 from 4 cells must be 2, 3, 4, 5. So it can't be an 8. So that's a 3, that's an 8. these 3 cells are 2, 4, 5. That one can't be a 4 because of the 4 in the box. That's a 2, 5 pair, which removes 2, 5 as options from the rest of the column. So that's nice. These are therefore a 7, 6 pair. This is 6, 7, and 8. That's 15. No. That's 21. Is that 21? Please do maths better. Yes, that's 21. I need to make it 24, so that is missing a 3. So that's a 3 to complete my sandwich clue. Yeah, we're getting very close now, aren't we? This 14 I've just done. Okay, very good. Still, this 7 in 2 cells obviously can't contain a 7, so that must be a 4 and a 3, and I can clear out that 7 clue. This 13 clue is still... I've got nothing going in this column, have I? Well, it's 3 cells, and it can't have both a 3 and an 8 in it, because that would ruin that, so it can't be that one. So it's one of these 3 options. Unfortunately, that doesn't help. And then 9 down here, this is 2 cells adding to 9, and it's got a 2, 3, or a 5 in it, so it could be 7, 6, 4. No, not 6. No, yeah, that's exactly right. And unfortunately, oh no, 2... This can't, yeah, this can't have a 4, which means this can't be a 5. Okay. Okay, so we've now basically got a Sudoku where I know these 2 add up to 9, and I know these 3 add up to 13. But the rest of it is just a regular old Sudoku. So let's have a look. Can I do any damage? Right, well, instantly I can actually see this is a 6 because of these 2 6s up here. That means this is a 3 to complete my 9 clue. What about 3s? Yes, there must be a 3 up here, so that's useful. That gives me a 3 in this box. That limits 3 to one of those 2 cells in that box. That's a 3 and an 8 already, I knew that. Okay, what about 4s? 4s are in there, that's not very useful. So I already knew that. Well, 4s are limited to these 2 cells, which means, if I think about this box now, this virtual 4 down here rules 4s out and must limit a 4 into one of those 2 cells. That can't be a 4. But I do need a 4 in this combo, so that is a 4. So that's nice. That gives me a 4 down here. That limits 4s to these 2 cells in this box. Did I look at 2s? I don't think I did. 2s in this cell, in this box, are actually limited to there. So this is a 5, 7 pair, which means that must be a 2. 2s there and there mean that there are 2s locked into one of these 2 cells. 2s here and here mean that there's a 2 in one of these 2 cells, which in turn, right, so there's a 2 in one of these 2 and there's a 2 in one of these 2. This forms an X-wing, which tells me that there can't be any more 2s in these 2 rows because I've used them. How many 2s are there in these 2 rows? There are 2. And there is one there and there, or there is one there and there. So that cannot be a 2 and must therefore be a 5, which then bounces back onto this 2, 5 over here and sorts that out. That was very nice indeed. So this is 7 and 8, which I can resolve because there's a 7 there. So that is a 7 and an 8 and a 5 to complete the box. Right, this was a bit hard to get going, but once we did get going, it has fallen nicely into place. That can't be a 7. Right. 2 in this box is given. There's 2 in any of those. That's not that helpful. What about 4s again? 5s. Fives are in one of those 2 places. Okay, where does 6 go in this box? Must go here. And in fact this 5, 7 rules that out for being 7. I could have spotted that earlier. I think I used it to get this 2, but not to get this 8. So this is a 5, 8 pair in this row now, which means I need a 7. 3, 8 is leaving me 5 and 6 for the box, which I can't do much about right now. Okay, this 13, right, I was thinking, I'm a bit stuck now, but surely, yeah, so I haven't used this 13. There's a 7 in the column now, and a 2, so this is a 3, 4, 6, 13 clue, so I can unclick that. This is 3, 4, 6. This can't be 3 or 4, and therefore must be a 6. That's nice. That gives me a 5 up here, that gives me a 6. Down here, this 7 is resolved somehow. I don't know when that happened. Is that all my 6s? Oh, not quite. There must be... in this box, I am missing that 6. Nope, excuse me. Saw it as soon as I went to click it. That 6. So that is my first non-19 digit given. All fully solved. There's a 7 and an 8 here. I can do that because that's the 8 up here. That 3 and that 8 are now resolved in the box. This is an 8 in this box, which means there is an 8 in one of these 2 cells. Hello? Why am I struggling right at the end? 5. Alright, 5, 7, and 2. That can't be 7 or 2. Alright, because I didn't spot that was a naked. That was like the only cell available in its column. What did I just grab out of that? Okay, 5s. Surely now I can do a bit of damage on 5s. Not really. Where does 2 go in this row? It must go here. So that's a 7. In that order, surely this 7 has helped me out. Yes, 7 and 2 over here. This gives me a 2 in the middle box. I think that's my last 2. It is. Surely 7's now. Yes, 7's in this box, and therefore in this box. That's a 5, that's a 4. That's a 5, that's a 4. That's an 8, and a 3, and a 5, and a 5, and a... not another 5. That's not how Sudokus work. That's an 8, that's a 3, and that's a 4. And blimey! Sandwich Sudokus take me a while. That was tough for a 2-star. It took me a while. That was good. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, the sandwich ones take ages because like basically the first half of the solve is get the 1s and 9s, and then the second half is do a Sudoku. But anyway, I still really enjoyed it. I always do. I haven't found a puzzle I haven't enjoyed yet. Very good. 26 minutes. One of my longer solves. They're all going to start getting longer though as they all get harder. Yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Cheers.